Hey peeps, what's up? Here on Mars, back, another video on the Deimos Dive channel. Today I'm just talking about this pedal I've built here. I built it maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. It is a clone of a Sansamp GT2. I might put some text on screen or something about what a Sansamp is, but basically the idea here is you can just plug straight into this and then straight into a PA or, audio interface like what I have now and get a good amp sounding kind of tone. This is all analog, so this isn't like a Tonex or something that's doing some highfalutin amp captures. I do use a Tonex on my main rig, and I've used it a ton live. I've used it a ton here, quote, in the studio. I always laugh when people say in the studio because I have a desk with a bunch of gear. It doesn't feel like a studio, but I suppose it's as good as any. And so, yeah, this thing is cool. I built it because I love Tech 21. I like building pedals. Anyone who's known me a while knows that I like to build pedals. I've built quite a few. Being all analog, it definitely has a certain sound that is native to analog. You're not going to get the same realism that you will from something like a Tonex that's doing these digital captures with all this like crazy AI technology, machine learning stuff. That being said, I do feel like it does have its place. And, I've tried to use this recently on some recordings for some heavier distorted sounds, and it didn't sound right in the mix I was using it in. But one thing I have noticed is this thing sounds awesome like in a live setting. Like I can throw it on the Marshall setting, have a distortion pedal or an overdrive pedal going into it, throw a delay and reverb after it, and I'm golden. I could play a gig with that and no one would have any idea. No one cares anyway. I mean, we're playing covers, you know? So what's going on this thing? We've got some controls here, right? We've got 3 amps to choose from. The first one's Tweed, which is like, Fender Tweed. And then we have British, which is a Marshall, like sounds like a Marshall gain, high gain or mid gain kind of Marshall sound. And then modern, which is like a Mesa Boogie. That's your no sound. Although a lot of people say this pedal, this circuit doesn't do cleans. It's clean enough for me. It get a little breakup like that. That's what I like. I mean, I don't really like glassy cleans. But yeah, I mean, this thing, even at its lowest, yeah, it's kind of hard to get a crystal clear kind of clean. With each amp, we have 3 gain settings. There's clean, high gain, and hot rod. And then over here, we have what's looked at as the mic positioning. So like off axis would be, let's say Beavis and Butthead here is our speaker. If I have the mic and I'm doing off axis, then I'm kind of like pointed, at the edge, maybe something like this, kind of halfway between the center. Center would be exactly that, just straight down into the middle of the speaker. And then classic, I don't know what this is. I don't particularly like this setting a lot between the different amp types. It is very, it sounds okay here, but I'll show it to you when we go into the gain settings, like the higher gain settings. And I don't like it. So anyway, I usually am, going somewhere between off axis and center. So we got a nice little bite there with just this basic Tweed clean setting. Let's bump it up to high gain. You are going to hear some noise. My basement is noisy. There's a lot of interference here. why don't we get out that lovely thing we call a tuner here and tune our guitar. All right, so now we're tuned up a little bit better here. Back here with our GT2. Let's try the center setting. Just a little bit more pronounced in some band. I feel like the more you get into gain territory with this thing, the more you can hear the differences between these. Let's do high gain, or hot rod rather. So this is as gained out as the Tweed goes. Got the drive all the way up. Let's see if we can hear. So you can hear here pretty easily. When I put it on that classic setting, it just all kind of upper mids, all the low end kind of disappears. So yeah, that's the Tweed. Let's bump it over to the British. We'll start with clean. There's quite a difference in volume levels between these, so I may have to do some adjusting of volume in post. And you can hear I've got some sort of interference going on, but... All right. So yeah, we've had quite a drop in... Never actually tried to play that song. You're crazy. Let's see here. Back to off axis. We're on the British setting. Let's go down to high gain. Just hear what this sounds like. So you can already see it's not just turning gain up. It's kind of changing the character of the amp. And again, you can really hear the interference I have in my basement. goes with the center setting, so we get a little more of that high-end content. Again, here's classic. Sounds terrible. Not sure what the hell that's supposed to be for, but what do I know? So that's the Marshall sound. I mean, the hot rod. Getting pretty freaking velvety up there on that high end. Not in a good way. All right, let's try out the modern here real quick. The clean sound on the modern. Yeah. So you can hear a big change in the character, a lot more bass coming out, so adjust accordingly. What do I want to play here? What do I want to play here? Yeah, you can throw something at me for that. This one, more than the other two, this sounds the least natural to me. This has the most analog amp sim sound to me, where it's like, yeah, this. I think I was trying to use this on a recording because I wanted like a heavy kind of Mesa sound, and I was like, well, let's just see how this sounds, and it didn't really work. So yeah, it's just, I don't know how to describe it. It's something in the attack. Again. We'll try the hot rod. That would have been better suited for the Marshall sound, so let's go back to that. Anyway, I'm not super impressed with the modern, the Mesa sound on this thing. Honestly, where I like this is the British clean, and depending on what guitar I'm using and what set of circumstances, it's either going to be center or off axis. anyway, that is the pedal PCB. I can't remember what they call this circuit, but it's a Sansamp GT2 clone. I mean, pretty much, as far as I know, point for point clone of a Sansamp GT2. So yeah, I hope you dig it, and I'll catch you on the next one.